a lot of people so a lot of people coming from Indian IT background want to get to where you are now, and a lot of people are psychologically stopped, saying they don't know. There's no. So we are from a country where people take cat. Nobody will question or ask for any essays, or communication is not that relevant, right?
Right.
And a lot of people don't know the real value of, don't know the real path to getting to a senior position in consulting, management consulting, strategy consulting. What suggestions do you have for Indian IT applicants who are, let's say, 10 years or 8 to 10 years behind you on how to get to where you are?
I mean, I'm not
Piece
claiming
by
to be an
piece,
expert.
people who think that they don't know where, whether I'm worthy of a top MBA. I come from this overrepresented pool. I don't think I can get there. I don't think I belong there. And you're an example of 100% success. Like whatever you did, every school came through, every thing came through. What suggestions do you have for those people, piece by piece? What should they do at what time? How to get the entire game around, Sunil?
So one of the things, and I understand the aspect of the number of people who have that IT background and trying to, struggling through it and stuff like that. But one thing that I want to be very clear is your decision to do an MBA should not be about the fact that I am an IT guy and it should not be that I don't want to do this anymore, right? If you have that feeling that I don't want to do this job anymore, that's not a direct jump to I want to do an MBA. You not liking your job has nothing to do with your decision to do an MBA. I loved what I was doing. I enjoyed what I was doing when I was doing. The only reason was that I could see, I was thinking about, okay, looking at my firm at that point of time and looking at the people who were, above me in the hierarchy of things, I said, either I wait it out, like 20 years from now, I have this person who's 20 years older than me. I wait out my 20 years and become that guy. Or I look at the guy who's above him, who has an MBA from Wharton, who's maybe 2 years older than me or 4 years older than me. And I go, do I be that guy, right? So do I wait for 20 years to be a senior project manager or a group project manager? Or do I wait 10 years to be a vice president or a senior vice president? And the answer is fairly simple. Why would I wait 20 years when I could do it in 10 years? That was my goal. That was my drive, right? I want to be successful, but the only way to be successful without just hierarchically moving up, just working hard, getting a promotion, working hard, getting a promotion, was that what is the fastest way to do it? Then obviously the answer is learning. You cannot move ahead if you don't learn. And that was fairly simple. And second thing, people often make this mistake. People assume that, I go in as an IT guy. I did that mistake. I remember the first thing was that I want to go into consulting. I want to go into strategy consulting. Nothing else, just strategy. Nothing else. But I didn't know strategy consulting. I can't be a strategy consultant. And same, I see a lot of people who have a background in HR, people who have a background in marketing, and everybody wants to get into strategy consulting, investment banking. But because it's high paying, it's the money that is your driver. It's not that I could do that work. And I, fortunately, when I had that background, I had that 6 years of technology experience. I wouldn't say call it consulting purely, but I had technology experience. Plus, in my work, I could think about, like, with the brag sheet and all the exercises that you do, you could think about examples where you solved a problem and you go, well, I did solve that problem. Even though I don't have a learning, I did solve that problem. Maybe if I have the right tools, I could have solved it within a day. Instead, it took me 3 months. You know what? Maybe if I had learned that, I could have solved it within a day. So your career is not like, it's not this just a straight line. You go IT, then MBA, and then go strategy, then cut and CEO. And it doesn't work like that. It's always a very sort of arc where you have to struggle through. You go do something, maybe it works out. You go do something else, maybe it doesn't work out. You take a step down, you go step up. things happen. You need to be prepared, saying, if I'm an IT background and I'm looking at strategy consulting, you're not going to get hired into the top 3 firms right away because you are just that good. You need to work towards it. And the only way to work towards is not the 2 years of MBA program. It has to be inherent. Like I remember my first resume review with a senior who was in strategy consulting. I know how resume reviews happen. I have done resume reviews. I would just go, oh, this A is wrong, this B is wrong, correct this, correct that. But when I first went to a true strategy consultant and asked that person to review my resume, they actually broke it down. They said, you need to have 3 skills to be a strategy consultant. You need to be a leadership, you need to have analytical skills, and you need to be a team player. And they looked at my resume and they said, you've got everything is analytical skills. Nothing points to leadership. Nothing points to teamwork. And I go, nobody had explained it to me. Not just the fact that my resume didn't reflect it, the fact that that person was able to structure that resume into that way. So, which tells me that they live their life as a consultant. They live everything about them is so structured. They would probably answer, grocery shopping would be a nice structured list of this aisle, this aisle, this aisle. I don't do that. So how could I claim to be a strategy consultant when my personality doesn't reflect that? So unless and until you learn it, you incorporate it in your day-to-day work and okay, so for this interview, pre-you, I would have come in and given you an answer. I would have probably done okay. But pre my MBA, I had to write it down. I kept thinking, I was walking and I was like, oh yeah, I'm like, oh, what do I talk about? What are the points that I want to convey? What are the things that my experience tells me about? And it has to change you if you want to switch your career. It's not very simple. People often think as in the technology, I don't like this career, I want to move to a different career. It doesn't work. I'm still working in technology. I love it because that was what I've done. I'm comfortable. Now, of course, people are going to be like, oh, you need to try something new. Of course, you need to try something new, but you cannot try something new in a job. Nobody's going to give you a job to just try it out post your MBA, because post your MBA, you're not coming in at that staff or a junior level where it allows you to grow. You're coming in at a senior consultant. You're already coming in with an expectation that you have maybe a month to pick up and start running things. So if you have a month, I can't invent something. I can't go, I know everything about in a month. You need to just incrementally improve in a month. You can't magically change completely from being a normal person to a completely skilled, data architect in a month. It won't work. If I want to do artificial intelligence and machine learning is the buzzword now, tomorrow I can't just turn around and say, I'm going to do that. That doesn't work out, because you need to build that skill set. You need to apply those, show to the next person that I've already done my pre-work. I've already done this. Yes, that was not related to the data, but I applied these aspects of artificial intelligence in that. I did this bit of work. I did this, and incrementally show that over your career, you have grown enough that they would offer you a job at that point of time. So IT aside, all those people who are like, from the technology background, I would strongly tell them, everybody's different. You are not the guy next to you. If everybody was the same, they would be writing the same code and they would all be making the same mistake. There is one person who's capable of finding mistake. There is one person who's capable of writing complex code. There is one person who's into quality and making sure he finds the mistakes that other make. Everybody is different. You have to find that in you. I wasn't good at writing code. I never claimed to be. I was okay. I wasn't great at writing code. Same goes with, but I was really good at finding others' mistakes. I was good at like, that's wrong. I was good at that. I was good at talking to clients, understanding what clients mean when they say something, right? So that was my skill set. I wasn't a technology. My resume and everything talks about, I know Java, I know .NET. None of that matters, right? Technology is just a language. I mean, sure, it takes you time to learn that language, but it's just a language. All you need to do is communicate. It doesn't matter which language. You could be speaking in Hindi, I could be speaking in my mother tongue, but if I can do this and explain what I'm trying to get across to you, you would still understand. You wouldn't know the language, but you would say, oh, Sunil is angry and he's happy, and you would still relate to what I'm saying. So oftentimes we make a mistake of saying one singularly, I want to be IT and I want to do this. It's not a lateral jump that you could go from IT to management consulting or IT to investment banking. People who have been in investment banking, people I know of, they have worked their butt off in India, right? They've done their investment banking work in India. They've done BCom. They've gone through the whole stress of investment banking. They know exactly what to do. And in Rotman, when it comes to that, they were the ones who went in for an interview. They were the ones who would actually nail down the interview. Not the ones who came in all of a sudden like me and said, I want to go into investment banking with no clue about what finance is, or no clue about what anything is. No, you can't do that. So we need to control our expectations. We need to make sure our expectations are aligned to what we expect. And our expectations should be all along, what am I good at? What areas should I improve on? And one of the things that you could do in your MBA if you want to switch your career is that you don't start once you join your MBA. You start before that. That's one thing that I wanted to talk to you about, was that oftentimes you get your admit in December, January, February, March. Your college starts in July. That's enough time. Which job do you?
I remember when I was actually running after you, saying, let's do an interview, you brought in a very relevant point, Sunil. You said it's very important to talk about the process after you get an admit.